In today's professional world, your success will depend largely on how you can differentiate yourself in the marketplace. If you are or will be a college graduate soon, there are likely tens of thousands of other students with the same degree and maybe better grades. So, how can you stand out and land that great job with a corner office? And with the dominance of AI, it is no longer about what you know, but, in my opinion, rather who you know. This is where LinkedIn comes in, the platform to build your professional network. But who am I? Well, I've been an avid LinkedIn member since 2003. That was the year that they launched. I spend about an hour a day on LinkedIn. I'm currently approaching 12,000 contacts. Now, as the founder of South Mountain, a software company, I used LinkedIn very effectively to find new customers. My position as the innovation director at Arizona State University for over 15 years and a visiting international professor at Tec de Monterrey, all positions I got through LinkedIn. LinkedIn is part of my professional currency. When I change jobs, that network comes with me. Companies and universities have shown that my network holds considerable value. Okay, let's talk about LinkedIn's background a little bit. The founders of LinkedIn have been labeled the PayPal Mafia. Gee, why is this, you might ask? Well, when eBay bought PayPal, most of the PayPal founders and employees left and started other companies. They became known as the PayPal Mafia. The PayPal Mafia started Tesla, LinkedIn, SpaceX, Square, Yelp, Yammer, just to name a few companies. The point is that I'm trying to make is your network can help your net worth. 20 million recruiters and hiring managers use LinkedIn to source candidates. LinkedIn recommends these 6 steps that I'm going to cover on how to build your brand. Your brand. What is a brand? When brand, you think of a product. Well, think of yourself as a product. How are you perceived in the marketplace? We're going to talk about the profile picture, headline, passion, content, recommendations, and finally messaging. Profile picture. Make sure your photo is indicative of how you really look. Now, if you look like Brad Pitt or Jessica Alba, okay. But you want a picture that be realistic about your appearance. Otherwise, people feel deceived. 60% of the photo should be your face. Avoid things like skateboards and other distractions. You should be the only person in the picture. Group photos can mislead the viewer. Smiling, that's good. Smiling puts people at ease. They will ask themselves, is this someone I would like to work with? Now, on the other hand, if you're a very serious person or applying for a very serious job like a policeman or an investigator, then okay, maybe no smiles are needed in that case, but usually a smile is the way to go. Avoid distracting backgrounds. It doesn't need to be blank space, but you should be the focus of the picture. And then wear what you would likely wear to work. You don't want to be underdressed or overdressed. For example, these are actual profiles on LinkedIn. Now, unless you're an animal trainer, no animals. Unless you're in the alcohol business, no alcohol. And having no picture is even worse. It says, I don't really care. There are tools to evaluate your profile. For example, PhotoFeeler is a free app that you can use and it will evaluate your photo. But a good colleague could probably do just as good. You want to use a high resolution image. And if people are having trouble pronouncing your name, LinkedIn has recently added a pronunciation feature, something to consider. At the time of this video, it's only available on the app, not on the internet. Okay, backgrounds. Avoid distracting backgrounds. It doesn't need to be blank, but you should be the focus of the picture. Here are some ideas for backgrounds. And for university students, I'd leverage your university brand. Next is the headline. What is the headline? Well, it's the title under your name. But don't just have your title. and think about the future. If you're a student, you may write future engineer in aerospace, for example, or future computer game developer ready to develop the next Legend of Zelda. Okay, you want to have some zing factor to make it interesting. You want something impactful, not just your name, rank, serial number. Here are some examples of not recommended headlines: skills, software development. Okay, I mean, you have a degree in computer science. Okay, is that really a skill? It doesn't say much about you. Could not be more bland. How about your team player, deadline maker, coding guru? Okay, here's a good example of using metrics to eliminate subjectivity. It reduced readmission rates by 17%. When a candidate uses metrics, credibility rises. These are objectives, facts, hopefully, not subjective verbs. Now, Najia is a problem solver. This is a skill that can be used across different industries or verticals. Hillary here shows a little character using the word play. Now, different fields have different language norms. You should know them or learn them. Now, what about the About section? The About section is a summary of your skills and passion. It's optional, but you should fill it out. Start strong. LinkedIn only displays the first 3 lines. This is a section that often is used by recruiters to evaluate people. You should include a catchy hook, your personal story, or optimized keywords, a chance to show some personality. This is often very difficult for analytical people, especially engineers. Don't be afraid to ask someone from journalism or a gifted writer, maybe a good blogger, to help. Here's a good example. I'm the colleague at work that everyone wants to know, but nobody wants to be. To me, Shanae comes across as competent and very strong. Another one, I caught fire coding. You can feel personality coming through in a very good way. You want to create your own URL and use it. I call it a vanity URL. Use it on your resume and links in social media. Next up, creating content. Share something you create and find interesting, relevant to your profession. Here, LinkedIn says 10 reasons why you should create content, but I'll mention 5. If you ever heard the word he or she wrote the book on it, that makes them the expert. Whether anyone reads your book is almost irrelevant because you wrote the book on your field. Yes, and therefore you are an expert in the field. It's a great way to expand beyond your current network as your first level degree contacts share, like, or comment on your posting. Here's an article I posted from ASU. I received over 1,600 views in a couple days. And I really didn't have anything, I didn't really have a hand in the competition, but I'm associated with it through Arizona State University. The same day I posted the robotics article, I received an invitation from Baylor New Venture Competition to share with ASU students. I received this invitation from a LinkedIn connection. This is the network at work. Now my network benefits from my post. Over 1,000 views on a post about an ASU spinout using solar to pull water from air. I promoted ASU and specifically solar at ASU. This is a great way to achieve that goal. Let me share another example. Carlos Navarro won the $100,000 Breakthrough Energy Ventures Prize for his business idea. This received over 1,000 views. He's a USC student. But not only did I promote ASU, but I gained goodwill from a couple colleagues at USC. Recommendations. Ask for them in a timely fashion. The sooner, the better. Don't wait until 6 months after you've left the job. People move on very quickly, especially in business. For example, ask for a recommendation during your last week of an internship. Why are recommendations important? They lower the risk for hiring managers. Messaging. Brevity is key. Be clear and concise with your messages. Use the student card if you're a student. You might say something such as, "Hi, I'm a student from Tec de Monterey. I'm trying to build my professional network and I'd like to connect with you." So you can see it's not anything like, I'm trying to sell you anything. So other tactics you might consider, if you don't have a lot of job experience, volunteer somewhere. Volunteer for a nonprofit. This does not have to be in your field, but of course it would help. I was personally asked to be an advisor to the Arizona correctionals industry, something I knew nothing about, to help them on workforce development. It's unpaid, but it was very rewarding. It also allowed me to network with local politicians, which was an unintended result, and so I built my network out. Monitor your views and by whom. Why? Because it's good to know how your brand is doing out there. What industries are getting noticed by you? Job changes and promotions are a great opportunity to reach out. For example, Brian here worked for me many years ago. He was recently promoted to Chief Product Officer at Nokia. I congratulated him quite sincerely. I am very proud of him. I recruited him right out of college. Now he's the Chief Product Officer. So I connected with Brian about 10 years ago. I keep in touch with him. Now I have an open door at Nokia. It's a small world out there, but you have to pay attention to it. Now also find out who's hiring and who isn't. That'll tell you something, okay? I also use that information to inform my investment decisions. If a company is hiring, it is likely they are expecting growth in their business. Connect with recruiters that have posted jobs. Send them a LinkedIn request asking them to review your profile and give you advice on your profile. That's very different than applying for a job. Now you've become a person to them and not just another applicant. They are more likely to keep you in mind in the future. And at one point in time, I thought about moving to Costa Rica. Wouldn't it be nice to have connections there before I went? Develop your network before you need it. Now, many of you are bilingual. Make sure you add those languages. Almost all of my students at Tech are either bilingual, trilingual, or more. Make sure your network knows about these skills. It's a differentiator. How can you publish you can publish in another language, but be consistent. Don't mix and match. Have one language as the main language that you're going to have your LinkedIn profile. Okay, so in conclusion, build and cultivate your brand before you need it. Always act as if you can lose your job at any time. Why? Because you can, and you probably will. If you're also looking for a job as your default mindset, you will never get caught flat-footed. You will be aware of how your skills are keeping up in the marketplace or not. Thank you for listening. I accept all invitations.